Morning. Morning. Lorraine's off to bed by the looks of it. So let's just get this a bit central. Hi guys. So I'm going to try and do a live. Let's hope the kids don't give me loads of grief. So one of you sent me this thing. Let me see if I can find it. So we'll do that in a second. So it's Louis in the UK. I'm 57 years old. I've had an Elvis, how can I say it? I've been an Elvis admirer since I was 4, over 50 years. And our channel has evolved with Team Elvis into a Defending Elvis channel. Now, this wasn't expected, guys. Got me coffee, butter coffee with you guys. And I've said this many times. We didn't know we were going to become a Defending Elvis channel. I was making videos, mini documentaries about Elvis Presley, thousands of them, all different aspects of Elvis's life, whether it be his childhood, the 50s, 60s, 70s, even in the 80s. We've done a lot of things, celebrities that knew Elvis, a lot of things with Priscilla, and just generally we were an Elvis channel, and I was happy to go along like that. But eventually you guys started telling me loads of information of wrongdoing towards Elvis, mainly from Priscilla Presley. Now initially there was a bit of pushback, but gradually I started to come round, started to understand that you guys have a point and that I needed to do some research and I needed to understand why so many of you were upset. Hi, Elvis Presley, Stacey and Philomena and Jane and Kelly Dan and Jean and Linda. And hi to all of you. So I started to and Lorna, I started to understand that I had to do my research and I had to understand why so many of you were upset. And that is how Defending Elvis Presley evolved. It took a while to get that name as well, because at first we weren't really sure what to call the channel, but bit by bit it became obvious that we were Elvis defenders, and from that Team Elvis was created. Even that was accidental. Team Elvis. I think the reason we started calling you Team Elvis is because your numbers were growing. There was more and more of you. And then when we started doing the live streams, especially the phone live streams, which I don't do at the moment because I think we get too many trolls on. But we noticed that with the phone live streams that we needed some help. This is where Team Elvis comes along, and we made some of you moderators, and that meant we could do the live streams on the phones, using the phones. And then you guys as Team Elvis were jumping in and you were helping out. You were giving people advice. The people that have got the wrong idea about Elvis, you guys were jumping in and putting them right and helping them do their research, telling them about our research. So this is how Team Elvis evolved. So anyway, because we mentioned Elton John and my dream, where I dreamed that Elton John had asked me to go to LA and do a news program explaining what Defending Elvis Presley was all about. I thought we could do a show today about celebrities. About celebrities that have met Elvis. I was going to start with Elton John, but someone sent me this. I thought, let's play it. So it is from a different YouTuber. Let me just get it up. And Elvis. It's the YouTuber on here is called @HitBerry. @HitBerry. And it just says many of the different boyfriends that Priscilla Presley had. And I thought, I'm going to play it because you guys have sent me it. Oh, I'm not serious, Linda. I'm not serious. I'm happy. I got my coffee. So come on, Elton John is my friend. He's invited me to LA to do an interview about Defending Elvis Presley. I'll see you soon, Elton. take me about 10 hours to get there. Can I have VIP flight, please? And can I stay in a real beautiful hotel? Maybe I could be front stage of one of your concerts. I'll see you soon, Elton. Right, okay, let's do this.
Mary, 1967-1973. Michael Stone, 1972-1975. Terry O'Neill, 1975. Robert Kardashian, 1975 to 1976. Elia Zierzer, 1976-1978. Michael Edwards, 1978-1985. Julio Iglesias, rumored 1982. Richard Gere, rumored 1983. Marco Garibaldi, 1984-2006. Kirk Kerkorian, 90s. Nigel Lithgow, 2006-2009. Richie Palmer, 2010-2011. Toby Anstis, rumored 2013. Tom Jones, rumored 2022.
And, and there's many others, guys, because if I Google it, we've done a live stream of this on this before, the different boyfriends that Priscilla had after Elvis, and you could double that number at least. Yeah, like Linda said, what about the supposed boyfriend? There's definitely more. So maybe we'll jump back to that topic. But I want to do just as we go. I haven't put any time into this. I'm just going to put in Elton John. And then I'm going to just pick out some celebrities that talk about Elvis. So let's have a look. Elton John talks about Elvis. I've always liked Elton John. Always liked him. Right.
I read in an article, because you never know what you read, but that you saw Elvis, and that was also a turning point, and that you didn't want.
Well, Elvis, when I saw him in Washington, bless his heart, and I'm a huge Elvis fan, it was so sad because he turned into this big man with no eyes, it's sunken in the back of his head, and it was pathetic. And in the end, there are pictures of me when I look at them and think, oh my God, you turned into Elvis. You just shut your door and you gained weight, and you did this and you did that, and you didn't care how you were, and it's very easy to do that.
But when you saw him, you thought you didn't want to end up like that.
I knew he would be dead within a year if he carried on like that, and he was.
And he was.
Yeah.
And he was.
I knew I had a problem, and the hardest thing for me was I thought I could solve everything myself. I can do this. I'm intelligent.
Right.
I'm wealthy. I'm rich. I'm successful. Why can't I do this? I can do this. I couldn't. And for 16 years, I couldn't say I need help. Those 3 words which will save your life. I need help. And as soon as I said that, I was away and haven't looked back since.
Haven't looked back.
No. Just say that if you're in pain and you're afraid to reach out because you think people will think you're weak, or you feel ashamed of asking for help, just swallow your pride. Your pride will kill you. Just ask for help, and people will be there to give it to you.
I think you just saved somebody's life tonight.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's great advice, but it's very sad when he talks about how unwell and unhappy Elvis was when he met him, and that seeing Elvis like that frightened him. So it's quite sad. But let's see what else he has to say about Elvis.
I think it was a year before he died, or close to that.
Yeah.
He was
Right, let me just, I want to put it on my stand so that I don't wobble as much when I do this, guys. So I think quite a few of you are Elton John fans. Right. I'm just going to have to move the PC to the side. Let's get this here and let's press play. Right, I'm just doing a live. Hi, Tina. Yeah, I'm going to just do this a minute. I'll tell you what, I'll put this video on, then I'll come and help you, okay?
But I don't want to finish my life.
I'm not finishing, I'm putting that on.
But can
Speak to the camera, man.
Can you make me something?
Yes, what do you want? Come up here. David, Mum's going to get it for you.
I want.
Look here.
I want.
He doesn't know what he wants.
I want a chocolate fruit sandwich.
Right, we don't have chocolate spread sandwiches. Right, I'm going to put a video on to play, and then hang on. I'll put something on, and then I'll come back. Let's have a look. Right, let's get this loud.
On its head. But that was not really the man you met, was it?
No, I mean, Elvis Presley changed everyone's life. I mean, there would be no Beatles, there would be no Hendrix, there would be no Dylan. I mean, he just was the man that changed music, without question. When they had a Rolling Stone poll, he was the most influential people in rock and roll. I think the Beatles were number one. And I just said, you know what? No, Elvis was number one. Without Elvis, groups would never have picked up guitars. I know he was influenced and drew his influence from gospel and blues and country music and black soul music, whatever. But he was the king, and he was the one that started it all. And so when I first saw him, I was a little boy in a barber shop in Pinner Green. And I looked at an old Life magazine, and there was a picture of him. And I thought it was from Mars or something. And then that weekend, my mum came home with Heartbreak Hotel, and that changed my life. I saw him in Las Vegas, and he was fantastic at the Hilton. But the only time I ever met him was very briefly before he went on stage in Washington, D.C., a year before he died, and it was very sad. And but even though it was very sad, even on stage, my mum was with me. My mum said, well, he's not going to be alive much longer, is he? It's typical. But she was sad. She was really sad, because that was her idol, and my idol. And but even though he went through the motions and was not really there at the scene at the end of that concert, there were still flashes of brilliance, even though he was hugely overweight, and just mostly when he actually sung a couple of lines, it was magical. You don't lose that magic, no matter how fucked up you are. You know, if you're brilliant, snatches of that brilliance will come through.
Did you see him as a measure of what you didn't want to become?
Well, at that time, I wasn't going to be like that. But then, of course, I did go through the drug stages, and
So yeah, he's more or less saying the same thing. Yes, my lovely Tina. 1 second.
Mommy's not letting me have a sandwich.
What sandwich do you want? Hang on.
I want a butter
Right, let me just put this on a minute.
One butter sandwich.
Yeah, that's fine.
because he turned into this big man,
Do you like it?
no eyes,
Right, there you go.
in the back of his head. And it was pathetic. And
In all fairness, that was probably an accurate description of Elvis at that time. Now, we all know that Elvis's appearance could change from day to day. The next day, he may have dropped a few pounds of water, been on a little less medication, and would have looked a lot better, just like we know he did back in maybe March and April. He gave great performances. I was able to find some footage of Elvis from this concert, and seems to back up what Elton had to say about the event.
I love that song. Oh, I love that. Come on, we all love that, don't we? So let's see if we can find some other celebrities that met Elvis. Now, I'll be honest with you, the Elton John stuff, bit sad really, isn't it? Because it just keeps reminding us of how unwell he was a year before he died. So not the most uplifting clips, I would say. So let me just check your comments. Yeah, come on, we love gospel music. I love gospel music. I wish I could play it, but YouTube don't let me do it. Right, celebrity. We're just going to type in celebrities that met Elvis. Actually, one of my favourite was Neil Diamond. Let me find him. Neil Diamond. Any of you love Neil Diamond? Let's see if I can. I'm gonna see if I can find an old Neil Diamond from the 1970s. Let's see if we can look at Neil Diamond, how he looked in the 70s.
Here is Neil Diamond.
Right, I want to get a song that I like. From the 70s, yeah? I'm going to quickly play one more Neil Diamond clip. They're going to copyright me, but I'll just delete it. My favourite Neil Diamond song. And then we'll show the clip of Neil Diamond talking about meeting Elvis. My favourite Neil Diamond song. Are you ready, guys? Can any of you guess it? Can any of you guess my favourite Neil Diamond song? Any of you guess it? Everyone likes that one, Kelly Dan. Everyone loves that. And it shows him in the Kurt Russell movie. Doesn't he sing it to his daughter in the Kurt Russell movie? I think Elvis did in real life sing that to his daughter, and we know that he sang it as well. Right, are you ready? Can any of you guess it? And he was famous for this song. Let's see if I can find it. To any of you out there, obviously we'll show Sammy Davis Jr. Also talking about Elvis as well. So Neil Diamond and Sammy Davis Jr. Yes, Linda, you got a good memory. Mr. Bojangles, 100%. He's my favourite. I won't play all of it. Let's just play some of it.
I knew a man, Bojangles, and he danced for you. In worn out shoes, with silver hair, a ragged shirt, and baggy pants. He would do the old soft shoe, eager jump so high, jump so high. Then he would lightly touch down. I met him in a cell in New Orleans. I was. Well, I was down and out. He looked to me to be the very eyes of age. As he spoke right out, talked of life. Lord, that man talked of life. Laughed, slapped his leg a step. He said his name was Bojangles. Then he danced a lick. Right across the cell, he grabbed his pants, took a better stance, jumped up high. That's when he clicked his heels. Then he let go a laugh. Lord, he let go a laugh. Shook back his clothes all around. That was Mr. Bojangles. Mr. Bojangles. Mr. Bojangles.
Love it. Love it. That stirs something in me, that song. It's just something about Mr. Bojangles and Neil Diamond's Love on the Rocks. Right, let's see if we can get Neil Diamond and Sammy Davis Jr. talking about Elvis. Is it Kelly Dan that was going? See you, Kelly Dan. You take care. Neil, let's have a look. Neil Diamond talks about Elvis. I know he does because I've done a few videos on this. Let's see if we can get him talking about Elvis. Right, are we ready, guys?
I know Elvis covered Sweet Caroline on stage. Did you ever get the chance to see him perform it?
I never saw Elvis perform Sweet Caroline, although I did see him perform in Vegas. I went down there and he was performing live. I'd never seen him before, and you know, he was Elvis Presley, and I was awed. He was an amazing live performer. He was electric, and he was wonderful. And halfway through his show, he introduced me. I was in the audience, and he introduced me. And you know, it's like worshiping a god, and that god is saying, "Oh, stand up! I like this person in the world. Why don't you meet him?" And my God, and you know, so I stood up, and then the audience started to cheer, and they started to say, "Get up on stage and, you know, sing together." You know, no, I couldn't possibly. And he saw I was uncomfortable with it. He said, "Well, he's on holiday now, so leave him alone. Let him enjoy the show." And they did.
Does a part of you regret that you didn't take that opportunity to hop up and sing with Elvis?
You know, I've thought about it over the years. What would I do? What songs would we do? And it's not a good idea to come up and sing with another performer when it's their show and it's their band. I do know that, and I'm glad I didn't, because I don't think it would have been a good idea to touch that, you know, the hem of the god. He was amazing. He was warm and very generous to me, and I think it's best left at that.
Brilliant story, and says so much about Elvis, just how understanding he was, and just. Let's just do one more here.
At one stage in your life, you lived next door to Elvis Presley, and did your kids sort of play with Lisa Marie?
They never did play with each other, but we did live back to back. Our houses were back to back, and we had a running joke where if people would come to my house, I would send them to Elvis's house, and he would send people looking for him to my house. And, yeah, the kids, I remember very clearly seeing them in the backyard. There was a big gate between them with barbed wire on the top. And Lisa Marie had her bodyguard, and Jesse had his bodyguard, and they were playing with each other through this fence. It was kind of sad. But they've both grown up, and I know Jesse. I haven't seen Lisa Marie since she was a little girl, but Jesse's wonderful. He's a great kid. He somehow survived all the insanity here in Hollywood. And
luckily he wasn't a girl, or he might have married Michael Jackson.
That's interesting that their houses backed onto each other. Right, let's get Sammy Davis Jr. up. Right. Let's see what he's got to say. I actually did quite a few videos on this. Should we first? Let's show the clip first.
Harry, what do you got on that?
see you. Yeah, good to see you. All right. Well, hey, a great time. Really enjoyed it. Show.
Love that. Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that.
Morning, guys. I found this old 19...
Right, let's play this. Right, this is quite a long clip. I think what we'll do, we'll just play some of it and I'll just see how it goes. I think it's quite good. I think you're going to enjoy it. I'm a massive fan of Sammy Davis Jr. And Tom Jones as well. So you're going to see a bit of Tom Jones in this as well, I think. So this is an old interview. I'm going to leave it with you for a bit. Who is that? Right, let me just put this on and I'll come back, guys.
Dada.
Yabba gabba.
Some breakfast.
Okay, come on, I'll come with you and we'll do the breakfast. Right,
I want wee a bit.
yeah, let me just press play on this and then we can give you what you want.
84 interview, and I just felt that there were many things in it that I wanted to share with my subscribers. Let's enjoy it together.
I've never written a song. I wish I could. I wish I was like some of my rivals. Those guys, they're pretty good songwriters, but me, I did good to get out of high school, you know.
And songwriting was never Elvis Presley's strong point, but he was so good at picking the right song for his voice, and he really did know a good tune. Let's listen to Tom Jones.
I think he saw, when he was growing up, he saw that the black people in the South had a certain feel for music. And I think he just loved that music and wanted to put it across in his way. Because until Elvis Presley, nobody was doing that, only black people, you know. And I think he heard it and liked it. It rubbed off on him. And he felt that he had something to give the world. And nothing was going to stop him.
And I think Tom Jones hits the nail on the head. And Elvis Presley's humble beginning in Tupelo, where he grew up around the Shake Rag areas and made many friends, and was heavily influenced by the rhythm and blues and gospel and jazz music. And the singers all in and around the Mississippi Tupelo area ignited a passion in Elvis that was amazing. Let's listen to Sammy Davis Jr. talking about the massive potential that Elvis Presley could have had as an actor if given the right films and scripts.
Because Elvis could have been the best actor, young actor in the world, if they hadn't said, but right here we got to put in 3 musical numbers, because he loved acting. He loved it, man. And I think what my personal opinion is, after doing the formula pictures, the Elvis Presley formula pictures, he just said, the hell with it. Because if they're going to keep me doing this, then ain't no sense in me making pictures no more. Because how many times can you keep doing the same story, whether it's in a harem, whether it's in a race car, whether it's on the farm? But you know, he did some, out of all the films, he did about 6 or 7 that I think he was proud of. And those of us who cared about him on a personal level said, yeah, man, he's cooking, you know.
And great words from Sammy Davis Jr. there, and he gets it exactly right. Things just completely lost their way with the choices of the kind of movies Elvis was given to make. And I know there was a lot of pressure from Elvis to bring in the money to pay the massive amount of overhead that he had. But this, unfortunately, which actually makes me feel very sad, was a massive mistake in Elvis's life and would affect him till the day he died. And this short clip with Hal Wallace talking about Elvis, to me, shows just how wrong Hal Wallace was and what a missed opportunity he had in Elvis that he literally threw away.
The idea of tailoring Elvis for dramatic roles is something that we never attempted because we did not sign Elvis as a second Jimmy Dean. We signed him as a number one Elvis Presley. I can only assume that the management team that managed Elvis Presley, and that has to include the Hollywood moguls who produced the contracts that Colonel Tom Parker signed on Elvis's behalf, they all share the guilt, and it is guilt because they destroyed a potentially very interesting film career.
And here's a younger looking Marty Lacker sharing his experience about Elvis when he first went to Las Vegas and how things went on to become.
First time Elvis came to Las Vegas was in 1956, and he bombed, mainly because there was an older crowd, and back then they just didn't understand his music, and they thought he was vulgar. But then when he came back in 1969, he took this town by storm. Elvis really didn't have a lot of close friends as far as other entertainers were concerned. There were some that he really liked and admired, some who he talked to, Sammy Davis, Tom Jones.
Elvis loved performing on stage to a live audience and seeing their reaction to him, and had really missed being on stage. Here's Tom Jones and Sammy Davis Jr. talking about it.
Elvis came to see me in the Flamingo in '68, and he said at that time that he wanted to come back on stage because that's all he felt. He felt that he was an entertainer, a live entertainer, and that was the most important thing to him. And it's the same thing to me. He said, but when I get on the stage, he said, that's my world. I said, tell me about it. I said, that's what makes me exist. No matter what the problems are before you go on stage, when you get on that stage, and that's what he had. Call it charisma, call it point of view, call it whatever you will, but he had that. And you could see him when he was on that stage working, you know, and everybody's doing this and being afraid that someone's going to come on the stage and the security and everything else. He was out there just doing his thing and making them and having fun with whoever's sitting ringside. That was his thing, have fun, you know.
Sammy Davis Jr. gets this so right. Elvis just loved to perform. He was in his element when he performed. He was on fire. It was like lightning striking. And it came completely natural to him. And it was what he was born to do. Let's listen to Marty Lacker talking about Elvis Presley's Las Vegas comeback.
Before he could sing the first song, the audience got up and gave him a standing ovation for at least 10 minutes. Like, hey man, welcome back. If you do something in Las Vegas, if something happens on stage in Las Vegas, the media picks up on it. As if you're on the road somewhere and something happens, you know, if you split your pants or you forget words or you fall down or, you know, something happens. A lot of the times it's missed, but in Vegas, it's picked up on. So all those things, there's pressure in Vegas. And if you do well in Vegas, people know about it.
And I think that's true to this day. Only the real mega stars managed to make it big in Vegas. And I think Elvis set a precedent in Las Vegas. And Vegas, when Elvis was there, would just come alive. It felt completely different. Vegas, when Elvis was performing, the whole of Vegas was electric.
To succeed in Vegas and have longevity is the finest compliment that any performer can receive. If you get the support of the people who live there and the support of your people who come out. There's never been an artist in the history of Vegas, I think. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's ever been an artist that when his name went on the marquee, they knew he was coming. People came from all over the world. I never heard of that.
And great words there from Sammy Davis Jr. And this is where this documentary and the interviews take a sad turn. Let's listen.
Those close to him could notice that Elvis was a different person. Well, from the first time we met to the last few times I saw him, I noticed changes. Yes, I noticed changes because he was more withdrawn. He was more within himself, and the fun
the fun, nutty things came further apart than they used to do. Of course, he was getting older, he'd gone.
Let me just pause this. I do want to play the rest of it because it's quite good. Now, Yasmin wants to show you something. Let me get...
Don't touch.
Come on my lap.
Come
on my lap. Put it here.
Just
Just 1 second, guys. Oh. Now go and lift it up to that camera and show them what you've made. Can you see? They can see it on here. If you look at that's what they can see. Yasmin is very proud that she's made this. And what is it? Tell them.
So it's a little cat.
Keep holding it up. Let me show you. She's made a little caterpillar. Whee!
Yeah,
she made every little piece. She put it together and coloured it in. You should feel very proud. This is very amazing. Fantastic. Look at the camera. Speak to Team Elvis. Say, you want to speak to Team Elvis? You want to say anything to them?
I haven't figured out their name yet.
The name of the caterpillar.
Yeah.
Do you want Team Elvis to pick a name for it?
Yeah.
Team Elvis, what shall we call the caterpillar? They're all saying how good it is. Well, you should be very proud of yourself. You are so clever. Someone said Gio said you're very creative. Someone wants to call it Elvis. Someone else said call it Teddy Bear. Someone said call it Claude.
Everybody's saying Elvis.
Elvis. What name do you want to pick? Look at the camera. Let's have a look. What do you reckon? Yeah. So I'm coming off now, Ro. I think we're going to call it Ella.
Yeah.
Ella. The name is Ella, which is a bit like Elvis. A female name for Elvis. Ella. Do it the right way then. Ella. Inchworm. Inchworm. Does anyone know that? Do you remember the Hans Christian Andersen? 2 and 2 is 4. 4 and 4 is 8. Do you remember it?
Yeah.
There once was an ugly duckling. Right. Oh, my God. Right, I nearly dropped you then.
That was fun.
All right, bye. Say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Hans Christian Andersen. Right, let's have a go. She's so sweet. So sweet.
And those things affect you. And
Right, let's have a look.
There's not a performer alive that doesn't doubt himself at a point. I could see that the camp wasn't the same, because every time I'd been with him before, I used to like the way that the fellas that worked for him seemed to be all with him, very much with him. But then when I saw that he was having problems, they started to get like they couldn't handle it, or they didn't know what was happening to him.
And Elvis Presley just grew weary of performing in Las Vegas and was overworked and doing way too many shows. And the prescribed medication was taking its toll on Elvis, and he had put on a lot of weight and had many illnesses and felt very unwell and very unhappy. And I think felt like he had lost his purpose in life and didn't know what life had in store for him. And the problems with the divorce, Priscilla, and failed relationships with people like Linda Thompson. And I just think everything just got too much for Elvis. And it was a sad ending to his life.
Elvis seems perhaps a symbol of all that possibility going to waste and just ending without any warning.
You see, Elvis was such a phenomenon that when people see a man so big as Elvis was go the way he went, and dying the way he did, I think that it affects people and makes them wonder, how could that happen to a man like that? And it's in that way it's tragic. But I think Elvis Presley was basically a down-home person, and a real person. I think he just not pointing any fingers at anybody that was around him. But I think if he'd had a few more friends close to him,
who can survive with this burden of success? I don't know, because he had such a success that it confined him to this, to this cage he had to live in without any freedom at all.
I remember the last party he invited me to, and he was telling me what a strain it you is. He said, "Did it happen to you?" I said, "Yeah, but not like it does you." He couldn't even move around the place without bodyguards or somebody being close to him all the time. I usually maybe have somebody around sometimes. He had to have them all the time.
Well, that's it, guys. We're at the end of this video that I'm making, and I have found this video very touching and very moving, but also very interesting. And Sammy Davis Jr. and Tom Jones, these small clips of how they felt about Elvis are so special. Thanks a lot, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed it.
I learned very early in life that without a song, today would never end. Without a song, a man ain't got a friend. Without a song, the world would never bend. Without a song. So I keep singing the song.
Right. I'll turn the light on, but I remember making that video. It took me ages to put it together, finding all the different clips, adding my voice and that. And I tell you what, it's so touching. And I haven't watched that for about a year. I'm just so pleased that we've played it now, because there's so many different parts of that video that I think move you, get you here. So anyway, let's carry on a bit longer. We've got another 10 minutes. Let's still try and find some old clips. People talking about Elvis that had met him. Right, let's go. Let's get the volume up.
I didn't say to be cute.
Right, do any of you remember Jerry Reed? We all loved Jerry Reed, didn't we? He was a brilliant actor and a good friend of Elvis. Let's listen to this. Right, so it's a very short clip. I might have to play it twice.
The first time, and I said it. I didn't say it to be cute. I said it because I was blown away. I'd never seen a dude that good looking. He was one of the best looking dudes, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. Sure was. I mean, baby, when I walked in and saw it, there it was. I ain't no fool. I said, damn, if you ain't the best looking thing I ever seen. I wish I was a girl right now, Elvis.
It's true, though. The best looking dude he's ever seen. So true. Right, let's... A
little birdie told me that when you were a little girl, you actually met Elvis. Yeah. Do you remember that? Do you remember? It wasn't actually, you don't really meet Elvis. You actually just look at Elvis. Okay? My mother sang with Elvis for years. Yeah. She and her group, they were called the Sweet Inspirations. Yeah. They also sang for Aretha for many, many years. On most of the, in the 60s, they were on all of Aretha songs. Well, Elvis took a liking to him, and my mom sang with him for many years. And they were very close. I just remember at one point being in a room, and we were all in this room, my mother and the singers, and we, the usually backstage kind of thing. And he just walks in the room with his mink on, with his glasses on. And he just walks in, and he says something, and everybody you don't say anything, you just look. It was just one of those moments I won't forget as a kid. It wasn't like, hi, Mr. Elvis, nice to meet you. You didn't do that. You just sat back and just looked at him. It was amazing to look at. Yeah. Just amazing. Wow. And just to be in his presence was awesome.
Love it. And we miss her as well, don't we? Whitney Houston. So sad how things ended with Whitney's. But yes, Jerry Reed, love him. Whitney Houston, love her. And someone's just mentioned Frank here. So Frank tried to help Elvis. And I heard about this. And I heard that Frank Sinatra would phone Elvis in the hospital and try and give him advice. So let's see who else we got here then. That we can. Do we have any favourites that met Elvis?
As many times as we've talked on television, and
had interview situations. I've never asked you about Elvis. What you want to know? When did that all start? When did the whole love for Elvis begin? He teases me about Elvis all the time. But never on the air. No, he says, like, if Elvis was alive now, he said, man, you wouldn't even hang out with Elvis. I said, yes, I wish it, man. Elvis would be in the lobby of your house, like, say, man, is it there? And I'd be in the room. Hey, what's going on, man? He told me to come over. Oh, I know what's going on. All right. But when I was a kid, see, Elvis Presley to me, it's his presence, I think it is. I don't think anyone in this business has had as much presence as Elvis. I don't think anyone's had as strong a presence. I think there have been entertainers. I think Michael Jackson's the only entertainer who's ever been more famous than him. But I think Elvis has more presence. Like when Elvis walked in the room, everybody just looked at Elvis. You know, when he's on the screen, you looked at Elvis. You just had this thing about him. And he was going through all this stuff with drugs and all this craziness. But on screen and on stage, he always looked like he was in control. You know, and that's amazing because it was this war going on inside this guy. And I'm just fascinated with him, you know. Do you see similarities in Elvis and Eddie?
I mean, they mentioned the drugs, but don't forget, Eddie Murphy didn't know the health problems. This is an old interview, isn't it? Is that in the 80s? Eddie Murphy wouldn't have known Elvis's chronic health problems. We know. We've discussed it so many times, but the way he talks about Elvis, I love. He basically says that the presence Elvis had when he walked into a room, when he came on screen, that no one has ever done that. No one has ever had that. And he mentions Michael Jackson. Now, I know that in the 80s and 90s, Michael Jackson's fame had sort of overshadowed everything. But I would now say that now Elvis is more famous than Michael Jackson. I think now Michael Jackson his fame has shrunk and Elvis is bigger than Michael Jackson. Do you agree, guys? Do you agree with that? Oh, you mentioned Cliff Richard. Oh, I've got to play. Now, look, Cliff, I love Cliff Richard, being from the UK. Come on, let's listen to Cliff Richard. Let's listen to a Cliff Richard song first. Do any of you like Cliff Richard? Let's have a look. Cliff Richard in the 50s. Come on, he was the British Elvis Presley, wasn't he? Extremely good-looking man, very religious man. We know that. Let's see if I can, because his songs are from the 50s. I might be able to play them without being copyrighted. Yeah, come on, we love Cliff. We love. How well do you Americans know Cliff Richard? No, let's listen. Let's watch him. Let's see if I want to pick find a Cliff Richard song that is quite well known. Obviously, we know. I won't play Summer Holiday because I know it will get copyrighted. Let's have a look. Here we are. I know this one should be all right. Well, no offense, Cliff Richard, but you don't move like Elvis. Oh, it makes me laugh the way he tries to go. Obviously, he's mimicking Elvis, isn't he? He's doing the broody, like sticking his lips out, like "Come on, everybody." But in the 1950s, in the UK, that was our Elvis. And I know that there's an interview where he tried to meet Elvis, and he went to Elvis's home in Germany, didn't he? And I wonder if we can find that. Let's just see if we can find that, because Cliff Neely meets Elvis. Do any of you know that story? Where they were going past his house, so they decided they were going to knock on his door and see if he was home. Let's see if we can find it. It's quite an interesting little clip, actually. Let's just see if it's going to come up. Right, here we go. So obviously that's him knocking on the door. Let's see if we can get him talking about it. What's this here?
They come and they go, don't they? And they still don't have the kind of charisma that he had that touched a generation. And so I don't think there's been anybody quite like him, and I think he will always be the king as far as I'm concerned.
Too right. Well said, Cliff. An older Cliff, I would say probably the 90s. I want to see if he speaks about it. Let's have a look here. I'm going to put this on the...
A serious point to all this. You spotted the Elvis posters around here.
It was the 10th of August this year. It's 16th of August this year is the 10th anniversary of his death, of course.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, can you remember what you were doing?
Where you were?
Heard the news?
Well, I'd just come back from holiday, actually. And in fact, I think it was Reggie Bozeke. He actually said that Elvis had died, and we all stopped doing what we were doing and thought, this is impossible. And then the phone rang next to him, and he said, not doing it. He said, oh, sorry, I've made a mistake. He's not dead.
Yeah.
Elvis, get well soon. So I went to bed that night thinking, it was all a terrible hoax.
It was a great
Well, I was at home, received a call to say that he died, and basically it was on the cards, really, wasn't it?
So it was, yes.
Yeah, he was going down. Where were you, Alvin?
Well, it was August, the holiday. I mean, I was on holiday as well. And it was on a balcony in a little sort of in Greece, and there was a Greek family next door with a black and white telly on out at night. And I heard all these Elvis songs, and so I'm leaning over the balcony looking, thinking, oh, it's all right. I'm
Singing
going to like this tune.
Yeah.
Thinking it's just a Elvis tribute film. And it wasn't until the next morning somebody said to me that
No,
he died.
I was on holiday too.
where were you? Do you remember?
Yeah, to south of France.
I was in the Isle of Man, and I thought it was Elvis Costello that died, which genuinely.
Oh, Elvis Costello.
Yeah, genuinely, and I was very upset. But
The double act, I know.
but I mean, Elvis is very important to all three of you very early in your careers. I mean, how did you feel about his death? Do you remember your first impressions of Elvis?
Well, I mean, to just go into death for a minute, I felt when he died that we'd lost, it's like the figurehead for rock and roll. He was like the prototype for all of us. You know, before him, there was Frank Sinatra and Bing Crosby. It was a different approach to being a pop singer. Elvis became he was like a prow of a boat. I felt we kind of lost the sort of figurehead.
The rebel.
Yes, but it was there was a demeanour about one that you had to have to be a rock and roll singer. You had a curl lip and you wore hair a particular way. In fact, someone said to me when they first saw me in Espresso Bongo, they said there was a physical resemblance. And I think we all of us, I don't know, I can't speak for the others, but for me, I feel if there hadn't been an Elvis, I could never have become Cliff Richard. I think we all take a bit from each other, you know. I'm sure Elvis did
More British actors than American. So do you guys know who Shakin' Stevens is? Do you know who Alvin Stardust is? Massive in the 70s and 80s. We love Cilla Black as well. I think we're going to have to do a part 2, aren't we, of celebrities that were in awe of Elvis. Cilla Black says she went to every Elvis movie and couldn't name any of the female co-stars because she didn't pay them any attention. I love Cilla Black. Cilla Black is one of my favorites, definitely. Yes, I wish I could have met Elvis back then. Miranda, don't we all? Don't we all? Hi, Teresa. What sister I have left here with me calls every day and asks me what Elvis is doing today. Elvis will always be in our heart and soul. That is so true. So, guys, we've a bit of a mixed bag of stuff. No particular topic, really. Celebrities that knew Elvis. We played a few of our favorites like Sammy Davis Jr., Neil Diamond. We've had Tom Jones on, Cliff Richard, who I've always really liked Cliff Richard. So just an afternoon live stream. But the end thing is we're here for Elvis. We're here to defend Elvis. Defending Elvis Presley fans want the truth. And sometimes it's nice to just talk Elvis. Anything Elvis. We don't have to be serious all the time. You know, we can talk about defending Elvis and other things that come up. We're going to do thousands of live streams. So on this one today, we just had a bit of fun in the afternoon. In England, it is 4:05 p.m. in England. I'm guessing where you are, guys, it's still the morning, where most of you are. So I just think we've had a bit of fun. Yeah, Lorna, just being together, Team Elvis, together, having a chat, playing some videos, you guys talking to each other, which I love. You guys are all becoming close friends. We need a bit of that. We need a bit of bonding. And I think these kind of live streams, we bond. We get to know each other. We know each other's personalities. And we just are like a small family that is growing, still growing, and proud to love Elvis, proud to defend Elvis. So that's it, guys. Thank you. Yeah, even Yasmin and Tino had a little, had their sort of penny's worth. And I'm going to go off, sit with them now for a bit. I want to go for a walk as well. Just having quite a chilled day at home. My wife's off out later, so I'll probably come back and do one more live later. I haven't decided what about yet. I may pick a topic, or I may do a part 2 of celebrities meeting Elvis. So we'll see. We'll just see how it unfolds. Thanks, guys. We're going. Goodbye to everyone. So we've got Deborah and Stacey and Linda and Lorna and Miranda and Jane. We've got Gio. There's 31 of you watching. Please subscribe, guys. Please join us. Please become a member. If any of you want to become members, please like. And you are welcome to Team Elvis, guys. You are welcome to join Team Elvis and step in and start chatting with us. Make yourselves known. Let us know who you are, where you are, how long you've been a fan, and help our family grow so we can defend Elvis Presley together. That's what this is all about. We want to grow. More members, more subscribers, so that we can make a difference when it comes to defending Elvis Presley. Fans want the truth. Team Elvis, taking care of business. Love you guys. All the best to you. Take care, guys. Anyone I've missed, sending you love. Thanks, guys. Bye, Vibex. Bye, Chilling in Canada. And Linda. And Teresa. Anyone that I've missed. Bye, Deborah. All the best to all of you. See you later on, guys.